Hello, fellow parents and educators. Thank you for joining me at Education Evolution, where we are disrupting the status quo in today's learning models. We talk about present-day education, what's broken, who's fixing it, and how. I'm Dr. Maureen O'Shaughnessy, your host and founder of Education Evolution and the Microschool Coalition, where we are fiercely committed to changing the narrative, to reimagining the education landscape and creating learning that serves all children and prepares them to thrive. If you are new, welcome to the podcast. Please subscribe on our website to get it delivered to your inbox weekly. If you've been around a while, have you left a review? Hello, Education Evolution listeners. Today we're going to talk about the benefits of being a part of a community. I am determined to help others create microschools and programs that revolutionize our present learning system. And being in community can make that easier. It's not enough to create a new model. These leaders of new microschools and programs need and deserve support to keep the doors open and thrive. We all need support. So let's look at why building community is important for all of us, especially our school leaders. And then I'm going to share with you the new group I'm creating to meet this need. The definition of leader usually means that this person is separate from and ahead of the rest of the group. A lonely position, but necessary so that the others can focus on serving students directly. Leaders in international schools are sometimes the only English-speaking school leader in their city. Talk about isolated. To combat this, when I was overseas, I joined the Academy of International School Heads, H. Boy, was it nice to feel connected and have support when being so far from home and other English-speaking school leaders. A leader in education, especially in these turbulent times, and particularly if they are opening and running a small school or program, can feel like they're in a foreign land. I know how important it is to be a part of a larger collaboration and feel supported. Let me go over a few reasons community is important for leveling up and being our best, and also some examples of these supportive groups. And I'll be sharing my exciting news of opening the Microschool Mastermind in January. My hope is that if you have created a microschool or other small learning option, you'll be encouraged to join the Microschool Mastermind or another community of support to make your courageous endeavor easier and not so lonely. There are 4 reasons I can think of for a leader to have a community. 1, to be our best and constantly evolve. 2, to experience the synergy of group ideas. 3, to continue to learn and level up. And 4, for support. Let's unpack these valuable reasons for being a part of a committed group. Communities help us be our best. Yes, I know I've always competed with myself and wanted to constantly grow. Something about being mediocre or just getting the job done is off-putting for me. This gets me in trouble when I'm writing. I end up having to add a stop time or I would be revising forever. It's so much easier to be our best with feedback and examples from others. Before the pandemic, I was a member of the Simply Effective Mastermind, SEM, for 3 years. I remember coming off of a moving graduation ceremony, high from the parents' raves about how our humble microschool lead prep had transformed lives. I shared with my mastermind group my conflicting emotions. I was jubilant seeing the growth in our 5 wonderful seniors, many who I had traveled to Nicaragua with and done a service project. So I felt really close to these kids. Their journeys and successes were very special to me. But I was frustrated that more students couldn't have this chance to really be known and thrive in high school. I wanted to do more, but not to have more students myself. I hesitantly pondered about writing a microschool guidebook to help others open microschools. My Mastermind colleagues took the idea and fleshed it out with me. One had even written and published books himself. I left and spent the next 2 months writing, Creating Microschools for Colorful Mismatched Kids. Being my best took a whole new direction with the support of my peer group. Communities provide synergy. We have all experienced watching a question or tiny seed of an idea be shared in a group setting. As members of the group share different possibilities or enhancements, it triggers new ideas that build on everything that is shared. I love the definition of synergy being 1 + 1 = 3. That's my kind of math. There's this added quality of creating something together and building off of each other. We are far stronger and more creative when we get new perspectives on a situation. I love seeing this synergy in my teaching team. Our humanities teachers wove their leadership, history, and English blocks together this year. The projects they create constantly amaze me. At our recent student-led conferences, students share with pride in being a part of this quarter's newsroom in humanities. They create a weekly e-newsletter, each contributing art, stories, leadership as editors, and more. Synergy from the teachers has led to synergy from the students, and the results are engaged teachers and students creating more as a collective than they ever could have alone. Special. Communities help us learn. The internet has made it possible to access so much information quickly. It's impossible to keep up with the information in any given field. I try to commit time for daily learning and find that I'm only skimming the surface or going down one narrow road. Being able to learn from others is such a gift. Many schools have created professional learning communities, PLCs, where their educators can have a book study or explore a topic together. Models like this are so helpful. When I lived overseas with my daughters, I relied on asking a lot of questions and learning from the locals and people who had lived in the country longer. It meant that I got to learn of great places to take the girls and wonderful pieces of history and culture. Often, I realized I didn't even know what I needed to be asking. So getting regular opportunities to be a part of a group and dive deeply into learning a topic and learning from each other helps us grow. I love keeping my brain engaged. Communities provide support. Leading is lonely, and there are many big decisions that need to be made. Often, in school leadership, the resources are limited and the demands to serve are large. It can feel overwhelming. In last summer's Build Your Microschool course, I was so pleased that we went beyond learning to supporting each other. In our weekly check-ins, our friend in Georgia would hear encouraging words from her colleague in Washington, and our friend in Texas would get cheered on from a classmate in New York. I know in a few one-on-one calls, I was able to commiserate when tough things happened, like plans for the school location falling through, leaving one of our members disappointed and worried about where her school would be housed. We all need support, especially when we're trying to create and lead. Being our best, experiencing synergy, learning, and giving and receiving support. 4 important reasons to come together as a community. I am pouring my energy into the evolution of education. We all know our schools need to be progressive learning communities where students thrive and their basic needs of love, belonging, connecting to passion, and learning for a purpose are met. Inclusion and equity in schools is not optional. The hardworking pioneers who took my inaugural Build Your Microschool class agreed. They built a bond last summer as they worked on their individual schools. To continue this collaboration and add more school leaders to this group, in January, I'm launching a mastermind group for leaders of microschools and small learning communities. I want those who are working to open their doors or keep their doors open while constantly improving how they serve students to have a community. These wonderful leaders deserve to strive to be their best, experience synergy, learn, and be a part of giving and receiving support along the way. This mastermind group will meet weekly for less than an hour. School leaders are too busy for long meetings. Since mastermind groups tend to add in more accountability and problem solving as a group, we're using this model instead of a professional learning community. Our weekly session will have a theme or idea for the day, an article to take away, and then put someone in the hot seat where they can unpack a burning issue with the group's support. We'll set intentions for the upcoming week and be done in under an hour. I chose this model based on my personal experience of being in PLCs, masterminds, and asynchronous online groups. Synchronous groups meet together to collaborate, while asynchronous groups like Facebook groups have more flexibility and you can go in and leave a comment or listen to a recording meeting at your convenience. I treasure the deep connections and friendships of being synchronous. Sadly, this leveling up in synchronous regular meetings is not a common practice for principals and school heads. With their busy lives, they often read journals or learn on their own around meetings and running their schools. So regular commitment to learning and growing with the support and guidance of a leader does not happen. As always, I love learning from those further down the path than I am. I've been impressed by Danny Bauer's Better Leaders, Better Schools Mastermind and Jethro Jones' Transformative Leaders Mastermind Group. Danny was featured in episode 28 and Jethro was featured in episode 29 of this podcast. Both of them are working with school leaders weekly with book studies, accountability, and support for individual questions. The school leaders in these groups are very committed to their personal growth as leaders. Impressive. As with my Build Your Micro School course, I am pleased to be able to offer this mastermind at a low cost and with the payment being a donation to the Bullock Garden Project in New Jersey. You can hear about Sonia and her nonprofit and how they pivoted to open the micro school, Their Place Discovery and Learning Center, in episode 23. This is one of the ways I get to support the vitally important Black Lives Matters movement. Helping others build schools that increase equity and inclusion is another way I get to be a part of leveling the playing field for our rainbow of wonderful learners. If you know of anyone who would benefit from being a part of our mastermind, we would love to welcome educational leaders who feel alone or want to experience the synergy and support of kindred spirits. Whether this person is just barely opening the doors of their new school or keeping them open or constantly improving their school, they are welcome to join our mastermind community. Of course, details are in the show notes. My question to all listeners: how are you leveling up and finding a sense of synergy in these crazy times? Getting to continue your professional development in an ongoing manner. And getting support you need to boldly make your profession full of purpose and passion. My magic wand wish is you getting to be your best with synergy, growth, and support. Thank you for listening today. I know how challenging it is to make changes inside your own school or community. I've spent years working with schools around the world on creating learner-centered programs, and it always struck me how much schools were able to get done with the right tools and guidance. If you're ready to make changes like this in your own school, let's talk and put together an action plan. Visit educationevolution.org/consult for a free 15-minute call, and let's see if we're a good fit for more work together. Education Evolution listeners, you are the ones to ensure we create classrooms where each student is seen, heard, valued, and thriving. We need you. Let's go out and reach every student today. I'd be so grateful if you'd head over to your podcast app to give a great rating and review if you found this episode valuable. Don't wait. Please do it right now before you forget. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Signing off, I am Maureen O'Shaughnessy, your partner in Boldly Reimagining Education.